This video will give a brief overview of the client profile tab to give you some ideas and hints on some of the items here that may be of question of how to input information. This information here is very similar to our confidential needs analysis, in where we're collecting information that we can use to be able to project and estimate individuals' retirement funds based on the parameters that we put in the information here. So to go over this, to start here, name, obviously pretty easy. Date of birth, you will see that you need to put the date of birth here. And as we go to this cell, which will be very similar with most of the cells, you will see some information here that will pop up with each cell as far as how things should be put in or what information we're looking for in this cell. You can see here that as you put in the date of birth, it will actually fill in the age. You can't put in the age, it will do that for you. Desired retirement age, age we'd like to retire, and then the age to start taking distributions from whatever retirement funds that you have. Jumping over here to the right, you've got the tax section. What we're doing here, because the calculator is calculating the client taxes, we need to have the correct selections for the tax brackets and their filing status to be able to correctly calculate these taxes. So you can see here, single, married, filing jointly. Those two will be the ones that you're going to be looking at the most, either single or married filing jointly. The next one down here below, legally blind. Kind of a weird question, but this is for an extra deduction amount that you can get if you are legally blind. Again, here, yes or no. Most of the time, probably 95 to 98% of the time, you're looking at that's going to be no. Jumping down to the inflation rate that we think that we may be using for calculations, the age to cover or to target coverage. What we're looking at here is for the calculations to run out to what age to make sure that the funds can last to a certain age. As you can see here, it must be less than or equal to 100, can't go past 100. Most of the time I put in 95, but that's my choice. Years of historic returns. What this is doing is taking what the S&P 500 has done, and the number that you put here will determine how many years back it's going to pull returns from what the S&P 500 has done. So in this instance, it's taking the last 20 years, what it has done. If that time frame that we're calculating is longer than 20 years, it's going to recycle that 20-year time frame. And then finally, the state of residence. You can see here that you're able to go through and select whichever state the client is currently living in. If they're thinking that they may retire in a different state because of tax reasons, then you could also put that in. But based on the selection that you choose here, it's going to go in and figure the state income taxes in addition to the federal taxes, again, based on this selection. Going back over here now, desired monthly amount in retirement, how much the clients would like to have on a monthly basis starting in retirement. And this $10,000 will be based on the inflation rate, will be adjusted over time. Annual salary for client and spouse, if there's two of them working. If there's a wage increase, having that percentage. Social Security. One of the things that you can do here, if you're not sure how much your clients may be making in Social Security, we have added this Social Security link right here. By clicking this link, it will take you to the Social Security Administration's website. You can go in and put the date of birth, the current year wages. Let's use what we have here on this one, 125,000, and then go down to submit request. What that's going to do is use the current year income with the date of birth to calculate then based on this input. This is not an exact number, but it will give an estimate based on the current year income. But this way you can include Social Security in your calculations for the retirement planning. You can put those in here, the age that you're going to start drawing Social Security. Dropping down here to the next section, client pensions. If your client is getting a pension, this is an annual amount that they'll be receiving, the age which they will start, which most likely will coincide with the age to start distributions in retirement here, and if there's an inflation adjustment for their pension. Have both client and spouse if both of them are getting pensions. Rental income would be the net rental income that they would be expecting over the entire year. And again, at what age starting? If they have those properties now, then just put it in as the current age of the client. Run it to age 100 if they don't intend on getting rid of them. And then again, if there's inflation adjustments. Other income, that would be for interest income, things like that. Really don't see a lot of things going in there at this point, but it gives you the same selections to where you can put other income in there to allow that to calculate as well. The final section here is the different types of retirement vehicles that we have that can be selected. So as you select the cell here, you can pull down 401k, IRA, Roth IRA, or Roth 401k. One thing you'll notice here, as you select that cell, this information here will come up. The big part to notice here is a Roth 401k. If you're selecting if your client has a Roth 401k, what you're going to want to do, because you have a taxable portion and a tax-free portion and a tax-deferred portion, you're going to want to break it up into two different investments. One being the 401k portion that will be taxed later. The other will be the tax-free portion that is after tax contributions going to grow there in a tax-free manner. Going down, beginning account balance. Here on the contribution type, what we're doing here is asking for the amount or percentage. If the client knows the amount that they're contributing to whatever plan that is, we'll select amount, and then you will notice that as we do that, it made this cell red because that cell needs to be filled in because we selected amount. If we select percentage, you'll notice that now it's black, doesn't need to be filled in. So based on the selection that you have here, we'll determine which cells you're going to enter into. Here's the percentage for the employee, for the employer. And plan fees can be estimated if they don't know, which they most likely won't. And then the rate of return during the working years and during the retirement years. And that would be the selection for each individual selection here. Again, with the 4 selections, you can have multiple types of investments across here. We've broken it up into the client and the spouse because of required minimum distributions. We want to keep them separate for those calculations. So you can see over here, we've got a Roth IRA with the same information input. One thing I'll also make note of, you can see here on this IRA, I've got $8,000. Currently, you can only contribute $6,000 up to age 49 per year. At age 50 and beyond, you can do $7,000. If you put $8,000 in, as I have here, it's going to limit the amount that you can have or that you can actually contribute to it. The calculator will limit that. This amount, this section down here is telling you based on your selection, 401k, this is how much you're contributing based on the percentage or the amount that you put here. Here's the max amount that the employee can put in, and then at age 50, the additional amount. So this will tell you the information as far as what's being put in and what is allowed. And if the amount that we're showing here is more than the allowed in the calculations, it will go with what that capped amount is. The final thing on this tab is the life insurance analysis. We have another video to give you information on the life insurance analysis, but to hit this button, it will take you to that calculation. We also, prior to this, discussed the copy profile data. If you're doing multiple scenarios you want to compare, you can hit this copy profile data. It will take all of this information, copy it, you go to a new, clean, open one, hit the paste in the open one, and that will allow you to paste this information without having to re-input it. There's also this here where it gives a little bit of information that will help you with that, so that you're able to make multiple scenarios a lot more quicker than having to re-input all the information.